Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from the Joy 99.7 FM studios, Kokomlemle in Accra, a digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country, including Pad FM in Damongo, A1 Radio in Bolgatanga, Jubilee FM in Keta, and Sunshine FM in Boko. It's on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, Digibank, Let's Go. And coming up, Men's Gold CEO Nana Appiah Mensah granted 1 billion Ghana cedi bail as he faces charges of defrauding by false pretenses.
Not being so good, he has been granted bail, and know for sure we will get our money.
The government suspend the criminal prosecution and rather concentrate on how payments can be made to customers.
We'll hear from the customers who thronged the court today demanding his release. CDD research reveals voters care more about MPs delivering development projects rather than being regular in Parliament. We've got details as one legislator is pushing for the scrapping of the MPs Common Fund. Also in this edition, British High Commission says it is waiting keenly for outcome of investigations into Ahmed Hussein Swale's death as he joins Media Freedom Campaign.
This poor young man was taken. There was clear signs that it was a murder and should be considered in those terms.
And in sports,
FIFA approves statutes proposed by the Ghana Football Association Normalization Committee, clearing the way for a Congress next month.
And later, Jamaican reggae fusion band fared well to thrill fans at the Ghana World Music Festival slated for next week. We have all that and more coming up here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. And in our very first story, an Accra Circuit Court has granted CEO of Men's Gold, Nana Appiah Mensah, a 1 billion Ghana cedi bail with 5 sureties. Mr. Mensah has been in police custody after being charged with 2 counts of abetment to defraud by false pretenses and 2 counts of abetment to carry out banking business without license. Customers of the gold dealership thronged the courts to pile pressure on the state to drop the charges against the accused.
I heard that he will be coming to this particular court. So I am from Kumasi, and lo and behold, I saw him. And for not being so good to us, he has been granted bail. I know for sure our money will come into our pocket because he has won a case at the Dubai, which is $239 million, which can pay even 80% of the customers. So I believe by now that he has been granted bail, we will get our money.
And court correspondent Joseph Akable was in court and joins us on the line. And you know that if Joseph was in court, then you were there as well. So, Joseph, you saw Namuan for the very first time in your life?
Yes.
How was he behaving? What was his demeanor?
In fact, we were in a courtroom. There was a different case that was ongoing, and his lawyers were present. He had not been brought yet. Then all of a sudden, we heard some huge chants and cheering outside the courtroom. That actually affected the proceedings that were ongoing. And so we all looked towards the door. Then we just saw this not too tall gentleman coming in a black suit, beaming with smiles as he entered the courtroom. And he shook hands with some of the persons who had come to support him in the courtroom. He smiled many times during proceedings. At every point when his lawyers were making arguments in his favor, he could be seen smiling. And sometimes for some of the lawyers who came in, who recognized him, who waved towards him, he waved in response and kept smiling.
Did he interact with the customers that had massed up at the court?
No, except that when the chanting was ongoing, when he was coming in, he raised his hand once, and when he entered, he interacted with some of those who were inside the courtroom.
Now let's enter the courtroom and talk about proceedings there. Give us a blow-by-blow account of what transpired.
So you recall he had been charged at the previous hearing, but the charges had not been read against him. So first was that the court clerk read the charges that had been leveled against him, a number of them, including that of money laundering and the bit about defrauding by false pretenses and unlawful deposit taking. And so once they were read against him, they took his plea. He pleaded not guilty to all the charges that were leveled against him. His lawyers then made a case for bail. That is when Kwame Kufu, the leader of the legal team, made a point that Nana Appiah Mensah returned to Ghana on his own accord. He was not extradited. He had traveled out of the country to retrieve $39 million, and after which he was arrested wrongfully, and he has since been vindicated and is back in the country on his own terms. And so he's not a flight risk and intends to show up in court anytime he is needed.
Okay. Well, but After that, though, you interacted with some customers. I'm sure the lawyers didn't get to speak to you, and you didn't get him going out of the court, though. But they've been chanting that his release, the prosecution halted. What exactly are their concerns?
In fact, they say that they are interested in getting their monies back, and they believe Nana Appiah Mensah can help them find their money if he's allowed to.
By this, we are calling upon the government. We still stand by our request that we made on the 17th of July 2019, that they should set up the joint committee which comprise Men's Growth Management, leadership of the coalition or our representative, the government and parliament. And we believe that at that committee, NAM1 and all the Men's Growth Management members and the directors will be there to show us where our investments are, what is the amount in his account or Men's Growth accounts, the value of the total assets. And we believe that when that conversation go on, we'll be able to come up with the payment plan that will lead to the final payment of the customers.
We'll get to hear extensively from the spokesperson of the Men's Gold customers who masked up in court, though. But did you see any official of the company there today?
Niama Matefio, who is the PRO for the company, was present in court. I must again add that the company has actually been charged as well. Okay. So it's not just Nana Appiah Mensah who is standing trial. The company also named as another accused person, and he was making the point that they are happy about the bill because it allows them to pursue the $39 million, which they hope can help them repay their customers.
I mean, since this issue started, we remain focused, and we made commitment to our customers, definitely we will pay them their principal. And today, your court raising the same issue. Said the reason why your CEO no called Dubai was to go and change that $39 million. And God been so good, no called Dubai no or Kunim, and the court has ordered say Horizon people should pay the $39 million. So what it means is that immediately that money hits the account, the promise we've made to our customers, no, we will fulfill it to the latter. So this bill no is a first step. Say best solve that problem now. What it means that now no, the boss then we'll put together structures, put together plans how we can pay our customers back. So very soon the payment structure or the payment plan will definitely come out, and then we'll start paying our customers.
So you had the Niama Matefio as PRO for Men's Gold. Now, Joseph, finally though, have they met the bill condition? 1 billion Ghana cedis. Do we know what's happening?
And so we understand that they are working at getting it. The lawyers had raised concerns in open court that it may be a bit difficult because his assets have been frozen by the Economic and Organized Crime Office. But the conditions is that it's 1 billion cedis. There are 5 sureties, 3 to be justified. So it means that 3 individuals have to provide documents of properties worth that amount before he can be allowed to walk away. And
the process is ongoing.
Yes.
Okay, so that's Joseph Akable. He was in court and joined us in the studio with all the details. Now, on the matter of the demand of the customers for the release of Mr. Appiah Mensah, we are joined on the line by their spokesperson, Fred Forson. We are grateful for your time here on the Midday News. So what really is the purpose of this call? The state is saying that he has real questions to answer, and you are saying the prosecution must be halted?
Yeah, we're not. Thank you very much. We are not necessarily calling for the prosecution to be scrapped. We are saying that they should delay prosecution, as we said last week in our press conference, and we still stand by that demand. And now that it's been granted bail by the court, it's our hope that the government or Men's Gold, they will come up with the joint committee that we also requested. Because we believe that at that committee, every information concerning our investment will be made known before the committee. And that will enable the parties involved to know how much is in the kitty. As I said, what is the total value of the asset? What is the total amount in his bank account? This will help us to be able to fashion out properly a payment plan that will lead to the payment of the customer. Because at the end of the day, no matter the processes, no matter the engagement, no matter the prosecution.
But Mr. Forson, though, today you were in court and he's been granted bail. Does it give you any hope? Have you heard anything as to when your payments will start?
Yeah, this is some glimmer of hope, because now that he's out of the court, now that he's been granted bail, I think we'll have the opportunity to be able to meet him.
So you heard that Fred Forson is spokesperson for customers of Men's Gold. This is a matter that we'll get to delve deeper into in our subsequent bulletin. But let's head to Parliament, because the House has summoned the Interior Minister to appear before them next week to answer an urgent question on what is being done to deal with incidents of kidnappings of young women in the Western region and other parts of the country. Now, his invitation follows the recent wave of kidnappings in the country, with the latest causing or involving foreigners. Ranking member on the Defence and Interior Committee filed that urgent question. My colleague Parker Wilson is in Parliament and joins us on the line with more on this. So Parker, when next week is when he's supposed to be in Parliament, though, but this urgent question, tell us a bit more about it.
Okay, so it's from the ranking member on the Defence Committee, that is James Sagaga. He wants the sector minister to appear before the House on Tuesday to answer this question. For him, consistently, he's been making the point that there is some state of insecurity going on, insecurity in the country, basically because of the recent wave of kidnapping in the country or some part of the country, including armed robbery cases as well. So for him, he wants to know what government is doing to ensure that at least they deal with the threats or the issues that have been going on within the country. He believes that government is not really doing enough to safeguard the lives of citizens. So for him, he's dragging the minister to the House to ask him what government specifically or measures or interventions being put in place to ensure that they safeguard the lives of the citizens.
My colleague there, Parker Wilson, reporting from Parliament, will stay a while longer there because the Finance Minister is expected to present the mid-year review of the budget statement and economic policy of government on Monday. The Majority Leader urged members of the House to adequately prepare for a meaningful debate.
Speaker, the Honourable Minister for Finance is expected to present the mid-year review of the budget statement and economic policy of governments of Ghana for the 2019 financial year on Monday, the 29th of July 2019. Debate on the motion is scheduled for Tuesday, the 30th of July 2019, and is expected to conclude the same day. Honourable members are accordingly informed to prepare for a meaningful debate. Speaker, the Business Committee takes this opportunity to inform all honourable members that on Wednesday, the 31st of July, the Speaker of the House of Representatives of the United States Congress, Right Honourable Nancy Patricia Pelosi, is scheduled to address the House at 10 a.m.
Well, you heard that the Majority Leader, Osechi Mensah-Bonsu. So now, a survey by the policy think tank Center for Democratic Development, CDD, has found that voters consider an MP's promise and ability to deliver development projects far more important in making voting decisions. According to the survey, voters care far less about an MP's commitment to contributing to debates on the floor, serving as a check on the executive, and being regular in Parliament. Lead researcher Dr. George Kwekuofosu says these considerations influence voter choices.
So development projects get the government to implement a particular kind of project in your constituency. This is what we call allocation. Symbolic is empathizing with your constituents, right?
Now, North Tongue MP Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa says the MP's Common Fund encourages the perception that legislators are development agents when the fund itself is so insignificant to do any real development. He wants it scrapped.
In my constituency, North Tongue, I get 40,000 cedis a quarter. So for the whole year, it's 160,000 cedis, not up to 200,000 cedis. 160,000 at the current going rate for even a 6-unit classroom block. You can't construct a 6-unit classroom block with that. Really, you can't do any road with that. You can't construct a hospital with that. Not even a CHIPS compound. The going rate for CHIPS compound. So, unless you are going to wait and accrue.
You heard the North Tongue MP Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa. Now, the British High Commission in Ghana says it is waiting keenly for the outcome of investigations into the murder of Tiger IPI's Ahmed Hussein Swale, insisting that the outcome is of great interest to the UK government. Ahmed was shot thrice by unknown assailants at Medina on his way home, and almost 6 months on, it is unclear what the status of the investigation is. Speaking to Israel Eye as part of the Media Freedom Campaign, Head of Political Affairs Anop Vyas said as the murder and other attacks on journalists are a source of great concern. He urged state actors not to see journalists as adversaries, but rather partners.
I think journalism around the world is having a hard time. I think the role of a journalist is to speak truth to power. They are there to uncover what is in the public interest. Now, what they uncover may not be what those that hold the keys to power potentially like. But nonetheless, it's important that they deliver the message and actually inform the public, because there is a right to know about what's going on in the state of the world around them. And journalists are often the first to find out what's happening, and part of the checks and balances on the state. And it's a facet of a modern democracy.
Is there any of the incidents that happen in Ghana that readily jumps at you when it comes to attacks on journalists?
Well, every attack against a journalist is abhorrent and is something that needs to be taken into consideration when Ghana looks at its broader international narrative as an open, friendly country that respects human rights and is tolerant and freedom of speech. So every attack does diminish that in some way. Obviously, we have been talking today about the murder of Ahmed Hussein Swale. That has been something that shocked the international community. I know when the Foreign Secretary was here, he spoke to Tiger Eye, to Anas in particular, to convey the condolences on behalf of the UK government. We are looking to see what happens next. This poor young man was taken. There was clear signs that it was a murder and should be considered in those terms.
You heard there Anop Vyasi, head of political affairs at the British High Commission. Well, throughout this week, the multimedia group has led a campaign seeking to end attacks on pressmen and ensure a freer media in Ghana. This was critical because, as it is in every society, the media provides a platform for people, including you, our cherished listener or viewer, to engage with the powers that be, from the president to the police, dubbed Defend Media Freedom. The campaign gauged the views of a number of senior members of the fraternity. Joy News editor Fifi Kumsing has a wrap of events so far.
The nation has experienced some of the worst atrocities against media men in the history of the Fourth Republic. A journalist, Ahmed Swale, has been killed. He was shot at close range.
It's something very shocking, and what people were even intending to do, we have big malams and imams who come to talk to us not to take the law into our hands, because yet we don't know who is responsible.
A journalist, Latif Idris, has been beaten and left with a fractured skull, wounded for life by police officers.
And they joined and beat me up with sticks, with their legs, with the back of the guns hitting mine. Yesterday I asked him to take a shot of that. They hit me with the back of the gun about 3 times at the back of my head here.
Many others still bear the wounds from the brutal assault on them. At least 31 attacks in the last year and 41 since the assumption of office of President Akufo-Addo.
We hadn't recorded any incident of, a murder, but this year we've had that. We hadn't had a case where a journalist in Ghana has had to be compelled by circumstances to, at least relocate for a while. This year we've had that.
These and many more attacks on the media set the tone for the Global Forum on Media Freedoms in London early July.
With many governments also insulting and threatening journalists and seeking to throttle media organizations through strict controls on ownership, licensing and online activity.
The multimedia group joined the campaign with the launch of the hashtag Defend Media Freedom. For a lot of the experts, the nation is going through a period of gradual attempt to crack down on media freedoms. The limiting of the reach of FM stations, this is expected to affect various radio stations in Ghana, Joy FM, Peace FM, and many more.
There are laws that sometimes government may decide to apply it in a very whimsical and discriminatory way, such as what the NCA recently did in terms of shutting down certain particular media organizations in the name of applying a court ruling. And one wonders why others who were also affected by the same court ruling didn't suffer the same penalties.
To be fair though,
I think that generally for all of us, it is time that we all had a reawakening, because there are times when these things are happening, and even, media houses that are professional themselves, it's as if we really do not care too much about what it is that happens to us.
Former VRA boss Dr. Charles Rekubrobe established the first private radio station in Ghana, Radio I. He describes the current media dispensation as the worst in the history of the Fourth Republic.
It reminds me of a Dubois Ahin's culture of silence. You know, the government of the party that believed in the rule of law and the freedom of speech and expression and Kabi and everything is inadvertently, because I have no evidence to suggest that it has taken specific divisions, but it's inadvertently recreating a culture of silence in Ghana.
Freedom is something that we have to be fighting for every day, every hour, all the time.
For a man who fought for media freedom in Ghana, editor-in-chief of the Insight newspaper, Kwesi Pratt Jr., believes a return to a period of intolerance by the state for the media will be dangerous for its democracy. Those pushing for censorship of the media often cite infractions by pressmen as grounds for their posture. But Mr. Pratt says people who feel offended by the media must resort to the law.
That if the media is not responsible, then the freedoms will be taken away. And this is an utterly irresponsible statement, especially coming from media practitioners. You understand? I mean, nothing justifies the limiting of the space for free expression. Nothing in the world can justify that.
My name is Daniel Daze.
Kwame Sefakai.
Right, Nana Amfo.
As the fourth estate of the realm, the media is only there to ultimately work in the interest of the public. That means any attempt to break its clause will be an attempt to stifle free speech. Is the reason media people will advocate a defense of press or media freedoms.
Press freedom.
Hashtag defend media freedom. Fifi Kumsin, Joy News.
We'll take a quick break here on the midday news. But what you've missed so far, Men's Gold CEO Nana Appiah Mensah granted 1 billion Ghana cedi bail as he faces charges of defrauding by false pretenses. And later, we'll tell you why killing cockroaches is becoming harder than ever.
In Ghana here, we are applying heavy doses of insecticides and all kinds of pesticides, sometimes not too cautiously.
And later, Jamaican reggae fusion band Third World to thrill fans at the Ghana World Music Festival slated for next week. That's coming up after the break.
My name is Kwame Sefakai, and most of you know me as a media personality, but I am also a family man. The UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, saves me so much time by letting me do almost all of my banking transactions on my phone. The cardless withdrawal feature allows me to withdraw cash from any UMB ATM without an ATM card. I can also pay bills, transfer money, request for a loan, invest money, and so much more. So now, I can spend less time at the bank and more time with the ones I love. Bank anywhere and anytime with a UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, and get the time to do what you love most. Download the UMB Speed App from your Android, iOS, or Windows phone today. Call 0302-633-988 for more information. UMB Speed App, Digibank, let's go!
Thanks for staying with us. Let's do sports now. Benedict has the latest.
Yes, sir, my friend. Black Stars coach Kwesi Appiah has received the backing of Titus Glover, Member of Parliament for Tema East, to stay on as coach of the Black Stars. Now, the major question many are asking is, should the coach stay or not? Now, Titus Glover believes Kwesi Appiah did nothing wrong in Egypt and should be allowed to do his work.
Yeah, I believe it's good news, but we will have to determine what is in the documents, because Congress will have to decide.
There are a lot of people who are calling for the heads of the manager, and for that matter the coach, which I disagree with them. We are doing this because at the end of the day, we'll come back and say that there's a need to go for a foreign coach. I totally disagree on those who want to make that argument that will land us in getting a foreign coach. 4 of the coaches that have won as caps in this country are Ghanaians. So even if there are flaws, even if there are mistakes, and we all know, watching from our offices, from our rooms, in our bedrooms, or sometimes about the late in changing some of the players and all that. But that's not mean that he's a failure. This is a Ghanaian coach, and we must have full confidence and believe in him that he can deliver.
And away from that, we understand that FIFA has approved the statutes proposed by the Ghana Football Association Normalization Committee, clearing the way for a Congress next month. Well, if that's so, Mickey Charles, chairman of Techiman City, says it is good news to have the statutes approved, but will be interesting to know what it entails.
Yeah, I believe it's good news, but we have to determine what is in the document, because Congress will have to decide whether we'll have to approve it, or maybe we'll ask the Normalization Committee to go back and then work on the status. I have not seen the copy of the status, and I believe by the end of today or maybe on Monday, it will be circulated to club members. So let's wait until I look through the status, and I will know what we will.
All right, so that's your sports. Join us at 1 locker room. Georgia the Junior will be here with more sports.
Thank you very much, Benedict. Let's do politics now, because former Member of Parliament for Nangtong, Ibrahim Mohammed Murtala, has been given clearance by the Vetting Committee of the Opposition National Democratic Congress to contest in the Tamale Central constituency primaries of the party. Some party members had raised concerns about his eligibility and claims that he is not an active member of the party in the constituency. But the Vetting Committee says it did not receive any official petition. Here's Northern Regional Director of Elections, Alhaji Mohammed Abiu, providing details after a successful vetting of aspirants in Tamale.
I want to state categorically, as Regional Director of Elections, that no such a petition came to us, and he was cleared at the vetting. No one disqualified him, and there wasn't any issue about him. So Honorable Murtala Mohammed is qualified to contest. So once we didn't receive any petition that talks about his coming from Nangtong to Tamale Central again, the vetting went on successfully.
Now let's get you on the line and speak to our reporter Hashmin Mohammed. Hashmin, if you can hear me, how did the vetting for all 57 aspirants go in the region?
Well, it went on successful. It was one of the most peaceful vetting exercise the NDC has carried in the region. And according to the General Secretary of the party, the NDC is looking forward to approach the 2020 election as a united front, and that will, and going into 2020, it requires that the party should be united to be able to approach the NPP in the election.
You heard my colleague Hashmin Mohammed. Now, a simple way to eliminate a common insect, cockroach, without having to strike it with an object is to use insecticides. But it seems that that approach is now requiring a change. Scientists at Purdue University in Indiana, USA say a new breed of the cockroach has developed a strong resistance to many insecticides on the market. A big challenge to how we deal with the insect. Joy News' in 10, Sharon Dankwa, has studied the report and has filed the story.
Imagine being told that the fastest solution to eliminate pests may become ineffective. Hurry. When cockroaches emerge as an issue, many people quickly reach for a can of bug spray or call their local pest control. But one study is challenging this knee-jerk reaction. According to Purdue University, one of the most common species of cockroach has now developed a cross-resistance to a number of powerful insecticides, leaving many in awe.
It's mind-boggling. I think it doesn't make sense. There has to be a way of getting rid of these cockroaches.
It's very strange. It's very bad as well.
Scientists at Purdue University, where the study took place, say that the German cockroach revealed an immunity to a number of insecticides, even formulas they had not yet been exposed to, raising one popular question to the local pest control companies. What then can be done to rid places of these pests?
The answer has never been the chemical. It's the approach. It's tedious. But when you go through it, you will see the result for yourself.
According to Combat Drugs, female cockroaches can produce anywhere from 200 to 300 offsprings, or 6 generations a year. Local scientists in Accra, Ghana, say this new discovery has pushed them to educate the public on the dangers of insecticides.
Ghana here, we are applying heavy doses of insecticides and all kinds of pesticides. Sometimes not too cautiously. Sometimes we just do it.
Local pest control companies like Blue Range plan to continue taking their time to ensure they eliminate all types of pests with simple adjustments of their approach. Reporting for Joy News, I'm Sharon Dankwa.
Now, let's find some love.
Now that we found love, what are we gonna do?
And that's the track Now That We Found Love by the Jamaican reggae fusion band, The Third World. They are part of the platoon of performers to grace this year's Ghana's World Music Festival, being organized as part of government's program to attract Africans in the diaspora, the Year of Return. And I've been joined in the studio by Prince Chega. He's head of production here at Hits FM. He'll tell us all about the Ghana World Music Festival. What more should we know about this festival?
The world is coming to Ghana.
Wow.
That's the whole idea. And it's all by courtesy of the Year of Return and Panafest 2019. Mm-hmm. It's all about bringing people back, all in tandem with the Year of Return. Okay. They need to come to Africa. And they've chosen Ghana as their destination point to celebrate this year's event. And I feel it's wonderful. And we must give them all the needed support.
The best venue, we should say.
And I know that most of you want to know about the tickets and where you can get your tickets. If you want to see Third World, you want to see Deborah Cox and others, Samini is going to represent Ghana. He's representing Ghana. He's the backstopper when it comes to Ghana music. And it's going to be a live band section. So you can imagine we need high professionalism. So it's like, if you want to buy tickets, let me quickly run you through the ticket prices that would inform you. We have the normal tickets, that is regular tickets, for 50 Ghana cedis. And we have VIP tickets for 80 Ghana cedis, VVIP for 150, and VVVIP for 450 Ghana cedis.
And when is the festival starting?
The festival is actually starting on August 3rd and 4th. It's a 2-day event. And it's like music lovers are going to be thrilled with wonderful performance by these great musicians. I know you're wondering how to get your ticket and where you can get it without much ado. Now, Pinkberry, located in Labone, Spintex, and East Legon. Pinkberry. You can get your tickets also at My Telephone Repairs. That is in the Accra Mall, ASC Mall, and East Legon. You can get them there.
And of course, at the front desk of Multimedia as well.
And Nalem Clothing as well.
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much, Prince Chega there. He's head of production at Hits FM. Already excited. And we're all excited about the Ghana World Music Festival. And we'll get reggae fusion band, The Third World, as well as Deborah Cox. And you heard him, Samini, as well. And that's it for the midday news here on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Emefa Apo. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Enjoy your weekend.